about as much political autonomy as a city can possibly have in the state of Louisiana, but it is important to remember at the end of the day, we are still, for better or worse, a political subdivision of the state of Louisiana. And in the same way that the council expects its laws, its ordinances to be heeded, the laws that come out of Baton Rouge are entitled to be enforced, and we are bound to obey them. And the Louisiana Constitution says that our home rule autonomy does not entitle us to abridge the police power of the state. And the criminal code is the classic police power of the state. So we don't have the ability to, if the state says something is illegal, we can't make felony free Friday where you can do what you want. We can't make robbery legal, we can't make murder legal. So we are bound by the state's efforts to criminalize. Now what we can do is use the tools we have been given by the state to the best of our ability. And one of the things that the state has done, now the state has said that possession of any amount of marijuana is illegal. So it's a crime. And we are bound by that. We can't make something that is illegal at the state level legal. What the state has said is that for a list of crimes, about 12 of them, we are going to let local governments manage the criminality in the way of their choosing, the way that they want to. And so, simple possession of marijuana, misdemeanor possession, the state has said, City of New Orleans, you can regulate this the way you want to. You can manage the criminality the way you want to. And so we can't make it legal, but what we can do is enforce our laws and put in mechanisms in the way that gets us as close to legalization as we can without abridging the state's police power.
What we are proposing in our legislation is that should anyone receive a summons for some possession of marijuana, it is immediately pardoned. We saw that really it's between 2,200 to 2,700 summons written every year, except for the pandemic year. And so that, to me, was really shocking. But then the additional piece that I thought was so shocking was that roughly 86% of the people who receive these summons are Black. And that doesn't make sense because if you look at different studies about cannabis use, it's pretty equal among races and ethnicities. So the fact that 86% of people getting the summons are Black, it's off. The enforcement's skewed.
Time, the only thing it does is just relaxes our minds. It's way better than your pills and your booze, because all that stuff does is just give us the blues. We need this for veterans. I suffered with PTSD. They had me on the medication. My daughter couldn't be around me because of the medicine that the VA was giving me. They're killing our veterans with this stuff. And please, we gotta get past calling this a weed. The creator of a universe gave us this seed. It does everything. It makes clothes. It makes houses that can't burn. Termites can't infect. It does everything. We can end crime in New Orleans with legalization nationally because we can employ our children in the growing of cannabis and the development of cannabis, and we can catch our minorities at 17, 18, 19 years old where the crime is being committed, and we can switch them. I love y'all. Thanks for what y'all doing. Please stay strong and keep fighting.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you for letting me be a guest in your house today. I am Gary Chambers, an advocate and community member in Baton Rouge, but I launched an organization called Bigger Than Me, and we want to support progressive policies throughout the Deep South, right? And this is a progressive policy. One of the things that I think that you all are doing here is giving a blueprint or a map for other cities around the country to be able to adopt. We know that we have many progressive cities in Republican states that are behind the times. And most of you have already alluded that we need to go beyond decriminalization, but this is where we are. And the beauty of this is you are using the tools at your discretion to help people. It is unfair that police officers use cannabis as a way to stop people, right? And then investigate for other things. Because it's not just the citations. It's that when an officer detains someone because they smell cannabis, they then give themselves permission to look for other things because we have criminalized this activity. And so thank you, Council President, for bringing this, and it is seeming overwhelming support. So I hope that this passes so that it can be a blueprint for us to take to other cities. I'm already talking to council members in other cities, hoping that you all are successful at bringing this forth so that, you know, New Orleans can be a banner of leadership in the Deep South. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers. I appreciate your support.
What's up? What's up? Hey, hey, hey. What's up?
You gotta get the first secretary for the sheriff too.
You know you're on TV. You don't like the thing? It's all
Those
right.
guys do agree.
It's all good. It's not gonna do you nothing.
Because I'll tell you what the plan I came up with. It was
You don't
so
like him,
similar
huh?
to
You gotta go through all of this every time you go. Y'all's offices are definitely bigger than all of the Baton Rouge council members.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't you have, how many do you have? You have like 13?
12.
Yeah, see, we have 7. So, but I don't know the condition of your city hall, but our city hall is falling apart. And when it gets windy, like you can kind of see how my shades are moving. That's
Yeah.
because the windows aren't sealed anymore. And so just like from the outside, like they move. And so if whenever there's a big storm coming, my blinds go crazy because the wind is like coming in. Yeah.
You didn't drink enough water, in my opinion. Okay, he spends too much time with
What
me,
do
and
you
I don't see him
drink?
drinking
What do you
enough
drink?
water. Water and tea. He drinks sweet
Fancy
tea
water
every
and
day.
regular water. Anybody want fancy water?
I don't want fancy water.
All right.
What's the
Or what-
fancy water called?
This is good water.
What's
It's,
it?
good. It's called Mountain. I don't know if it's a mountain stream.
See, look at
Why
that.
don't you check it out? You can check it out.
Look at
Mountain
her, we're
Avenue
drinking
Park.
water.
Yeah.
I got water.
See?
Our building might be real like downscale, but look at this, right?
Okay, all
In my
right.
office, you're gonna get some fancy water.
Premium
Oh,
water.
you guys remember? I'll see you in the morning.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Excited about what you're doing here and appreciative of legislation that actually impacts people's lives in a positive way. What's next? How does this process work out, and how do people get involved in this process as they move forward?
So thanks for coming to the committee meeting. I really appreciated that, and it's great to see your support. So we had a great committee meeting, and we're showing a lot of support from the community, which is great. And the council members all were very supportive on this. As you saw, everyone on the committee decided that they wanted to be co-authors, and the legislation moved out of committee unanimously. Once we do this, it'll be historic because we're going to be the first city moving forward with these prospective pardons, saying that anyone who ever receives a summons for simple possession of marijuana here in the city is going to immediately be pardoned. And it's a really interesting strategy that our team was able to realize, because I don't think that it's really been thought of this way, that you could fully decriminalize with these prospective pardons. So I would say that other councils or even mayors who have the ability to pardon, and I'll say that most mayors do have the ability to pardon on municipal ordinances, that they look at whether they can do these prospective pardons in their cities as well. This could be something where cities and non-legalization states can really utilize to end criminalization of simple possession of marijuana in their cities.
Because at the end of the day, the thing that bothers me about it is 19 states are now legal, right? And then the state of Louisiana takes our tax dollars to grow from Southern and LSU, right? But then criminalizes people for doing what the state is doing, right? And I thought that what you guys are doing with the legislation is brilliant, because it gives, so often there are loopholes on the other side, right? There are loopholes that help criminalize us rather than a loophole or a tool, right?
Yeah.
That's used to be able to help people in a real way. And so, this is like the first legislative piece that Bigger Than Me was like, yeah, I want in. I want to support this. I want to take it everywhere.
You got to bring it everywhere.
I want to take it everywhere. I did my little Cali weed video when I went to Cali, and in a legal state, okay, but giving people the ability to not face penalty is important, but it's also an asset to public safety. And the ability to give cops the need or the ability to respond to what's important rather than dealing with a citation for cannabis.
And remember, it's more than just a citation. That citation includes an additional police report that's going to take 1 to 2 hours. That means that now the evidence, the joint, whatever, has to be confiscated and taken and logged into evidence. And then that means that a supervisor has to look through the report. I mean, come on. It
But you
makes
know,
no
nobody
sense,
really,
though.
nobody ever really talks about the processes, right? And that's your tax dollars that are being wasted with all of this, and all of the steps in that process that are now eliminated, right?
Yeah, and so just think, so if we're looking at anywhere between 2,200 and 2,700 of these summons written every year, and let's just be super conservative, and let's just say that's an hour of police time for summons, okay?
Which we know
So-
it's more.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, let's be super, super conservative. So that's what, 2,400, 2,500, just to be super, super conservative, NOPD manpower hours spent on weed tickets. It makes no sense. It's not making us any safer. If anything, it's really just being incredibly punitive toward black people. And the reason why I say that is because when we looked at who's getting these summons, 86% of people getting these summons are black. And if you look at any study and report, it shows that cannabis use is equal among all races and ethnicities, but the enforcement is skewed. And so then let's also talk about court resources. So the head of municipal court here, the judge, told me that 60% of people who receive these summons, they never even show up. Okay, so that's failure to appear. So now the judge has to issue another summons for this individual for failure to appear. So now you got the drug charge summons, and now you got a failure to appear summons. And then if you don't take care of either of those, and you get enough of these, now you're going to have an attachment, a warrant attachment for your arrest. Like, that just doesn't make sense for having a joint. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And I can tell you that the support that I have received on this from, and you saw it in committee, from whether you're to the left or whether you're to the right, it's there because it's just common sense.
You know, whenever I saw that John Boehner was like in support of cannabis, right? I thought, okay, we're gonna swing in the right direction now, like, you know, metaphorically, literally, all that, right? But you know, we're slow to get there. But tools like this, I think, are what cities need to be looking at to say, you know what, we're going to take some power back to be able to help the citizens of this community and help make sure that our resources aren't being wasted or used in a way that's not productive to what every major city in America is dealing with right now, which is this wave of crime, right? I think that people believe that so many people are anti-police, and it's really, we just want better public safety. And better public safety is making sure that our officers are doing things that actually impact the community in a positive way, and this does.
Yeah, and I mean, there's some who called me and they're like, oh, this is a time to be tough on crime. What are you doing? Like, this is gonna make us unsafer, and the gangs are gonna go crazy if you do this. And I saw you chuckle, but they believe this, and I asked the question to them. It's like, why is giving somebody a ticket for having a joint, how is that making us safer?
It's not.
Right. And no one can, the individuals who called me who have opposed what I'm trying to do, when I asked them that question, they can't answer it. They talk in roundabout stats or circles that are not accurate, by the way. And so it's just time. It's just time to end criminalization of recreational use. It's time for legalization. I was disappointed that it didn't pass on the state level. So
we're closer than we've ever been.
Look, and I agree with you. And that's why, even some individuals who are like, oh, Helene, everyone's going to be just lighting up everywhere. And as you know, I'm also taking care of that piece as well, with making sure that people are respectful about smoking cannabis. that if you are out smoking cannabis just out in public, and I'll say this, that every city, even legalization cities, they have restrictions on public smoking for public health reasons. And so you can get a ticket for smoking if you're, unwilling to like extinguish your pipe or whatever. You can get a ticket for smoking. But the difference between a smoking ticket and a simple possession ticket is that a smoking ticket is just a ticket. There's no additional police report necessary, nothing like that. And most importantly, it's not a drug charge. It's not a drug charge. Right now, if you get a summons for simple possession, that is a drug charge. If you pay that summons, you have pleaded guilty to a drug charge, which can then impact you when you're trying to get a job, when you're trying to get housing. I mean, it's not worth our time.
Well, let's get it done.
Let's get it done, right?
So, early August is when you project this is going to be
Early August.
coming before the council.
That's when I project it'll be coming to the council for final passage. And then, I think the exciting piece too is pardoning roughly 10,000 individuals who have either received convictions on this charge or have pending cases. Because I've always said this, if I'm going to fix it for the future, I have to fix it for those in the past too. And that's really important. So I hope that as you work to take this legislation to other cities, you make sure that piece is also part of it as well.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.